Welcome back to Soulcraft TV. This is a very special project. I took some old Western tack that I was given and turned it into a luxury duffel bag. Here's the full story. All of this old and retired ranch tack was secretly delivered to me. 2 pairs of worn chaps, 2 bridles with reins, a whip, spurs, and this tattered pouch for whatever was in these old bottles. No judgment here, cowboy. This duffel bag is a lifelong present for a very special trip. I'll tell you about it in a second, but first let me give you some context. Andrew grew up in Bastrop, Texas. He spent his time mending fences, chasing cattle through mesquite, keeping coyotes away, all while riding a black horse named Nightmare. Isn't she so beautiful? The leather he used has really been through the ringer, but today I get to give it a second life. Amanda, which is Andrew's wife, told me that Andrew mentioned how special it would be to turn the old Western tack into something beautiful. But there's one more layer to this. Andrew was recently diagnosed with Parkinson's. When life sends news like that, time and values start to change. They start to look a little bit different. So Andrew and his family made a choice. While there is still time, strength, and bandwidth for adventure, they're gonna travel. They're gonna chase the plans they've started and pursue the dreams they've always talked about. This duffel bag is important because it'll be by Andrew's side through all the traveling and adventure. Amanda is gonna give this to him, along with plane tickets and hotel reservations to spend Christmas in New York City with their oldest daughter. A sort of useful and inspirational memento that combines all the pieces of Andrew, past, present, and future. One more thing about Andrew. From what I understand, his father is one of those men that defines what a man should be. Hardworking, patient, loving, steady, and dependable. The kind of dad who leads by quiet example. Andrew carries and lives by that legacy. This bag, made from pieces of his past, will travel with him into the future, and one day be a piece of the legacy that his daughters carry forward too. Stay with me, and I'll show you how I made it. I'm pretty sure this is the best thing I've ever made out of leather. I sent a few solid options of the body of the bag to the customer, and this is the one she fell in love with. The leather comes from the world-famous Horween tannery in Chicago, using their military-spec Chromexcel tannage, Horween's flagship leather. A bulk of the work went into cutting and prepping the tack so that as much of the original hardware and leather could be reused. At this point in the project, I didn't know how much of the old hardware I was going to use, so all of it had to be washed, prepped, and polished. You'll find out later how much I ended up using. Here's all the hardware cleaned up and ready. There were a few cool knickknacks I found along the way. An old family Zippo that surprisingly still worked with a little TLC. A solid cow tag number 101. This thing was heavy and very pleasing to hold. And a 1972 Eisenhower dollar, which I'm fond of because my dad collects coins. This is all the new solid brass hardware. I used the new hardware supplier on this project, and I'm very pleased with them. I didn't end up using all the brass, but I wanted to have enough just in case. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Here are some of the draft pages. I color-coded the list so I could stay organized. Each color representing a different type of leather. For me, drafting feels like sharpening your axe. When it's time to chop down the tree, everything is easier. If I don't draft enough before a big project, I end up paying for it in time, mistakes, and wasted material. I started cutting the Horween leather and worked my way down the cut list. Just like a recipe, all the ingredients need to be present and prepped before the magic can happen. These chaps were gorgeous. The leather wasn't in the best shape, but they had been worn by hard work in all the right places. I selected areas that best represent their character and purpose. 2 strategically cut panels was really all I needed from this set. I made a template using cardstock and a compass for the pieces I needed from the second pair of chaps. My compass is sharp enough that I didn't even need to use a knife. Most people don't know this, but suede is actually far more abrasion resistant than full grain leather. I traced and cut perfect suede circles from the vintage chaps. Circles are the hardest shape for me to hand cut with a craft knife. To finish the entire cut list, I had to address the straps. These reins were extremely high quality Latigo leather that had been heavily used. They needed to be washed, treated, and reconditioned before they could be glued, stitched, and assembled. I used a Feebling saddle soap, water, and a hide brush to remove the dirt. Very tediously, one small section at a time, peacefully waxing on and waxing off.
I followed that with neat's foot oil, which is rendered from the shin bones and feet of cattle. Since it comes from cattle, it's the perfect oil to rehydrate old and dry leather. This stuff soaks into my hands, and I don't love the feeling, so I usually wear gloves when I have them. Assembly began, and I could start gluing and stitching. This is a leather rougher. It's used to scrape and rough the surface in preparation for glue, helping it to adhere to glossy or waxy top grain leather. I used a lot of water-based contact cement. It's supposedly non-toxic, but they still warn you not to eat it, which makes you wonder, if you're not supposed to eat it, why does it taste so good? The chaps didn't have enough oil or wax for the edges to finish well, so I covered the stitched edges with Horween leather. This also added extra support where the straps attach. All of my work is both glued and stitched for strength, durability, and peace of mind. I can't forget the maker's mark. I chose a color that accented the accent colors. I cut tiny bushings to make the brass feet sit slightly proud of the bottom panel. I want brass contacting the ground, not leather. A little seamstress tape helped keep the zipper spacing consistent. Once the handles cut from the reins were dry, I glued them back to back so the top grain faced outwards on both sides. This makes the handles more comfortable, more durable, and more premium. It was important to me that the handles Andrew would hold weren't made from new leather. They had to come from his tack. There's something about holding something deeply familiar that I can't fully put into words. I set a lot of solid brass rivets. The reclaimed leather was so thick and doubled over in so many places that stitching wasn't possible with the tools that I currently own. And honestly, brass Cowboy Tack rivets just felt right for a project like this. The suede corner protectors were placed very carefully. If they were even 1 centimeter off, I'd know, and it would bother me for years. Not close, perfect. The handles were attached with brass rivets running through all 4 layers of leather. I spent 4 hours of focused time just designing and drafting, making sure every dimension and every line was right. I really couldn't afford to make any big mistakes because you can't glue leather back together like you can wood. And I was using leather that was not replaceable, leather with a ton of sentimental value. I built the bag in 3 main sections, the 2 sides and the bottom, which were then stitched together, getting her all dressed up before final stitching. I'm a full-time firefighter and I don't have a consistent 5 days a week, 12 hours a day schedule to work on large projects like this. My wife and I have a 16-month-old son and she's pregnant with our second. This project took me about 50 hours total, spread over about 3 weeks. I enjoy taking on larger custom work like this from time to time. It gives me a sense of deep accomplishment to put all my attention and effort into one item for weeks, and then finally deliver it to the customer. Seeing the look on their face when it's done is supremely rewarding for me as a maker and craftsman. The devil is in the details. Even edge finishing on small features, like these double-sided tabs for the clips, matters. Every little detail affects the look and the usability of the finished product. Although the bag will be given to Andrew on Christmas, and it'll be new to him, I wanted it to feel familiar. Like an old dear friend. Have you heard of the Ben Rector song, Old Friends? Yeah, kind of like that. These Conway buckles are hard to beat, highly adjustable, elegant, and simple. And if you don't want to use the strap, you can remove it entirely. I debated adding these conchos to make the bag resemble the chaps more closely, but I didn't want to overcrowd it, especially with silver hardware when everything else was solid brass. In the end, I kept it all brass. It turned out great, and the customer was very pleased. This one felt special from start to finish. It was both amusing and gratifying to watch this design begin as scattered pieces in my head and slowly become a practical, usable work of art built from reclaimed tack and purpose-driven materials.
I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something along the way. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.